Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
So today we are in the technology twilight zone. I don't think anybody ever believed I had a real brick wall behind me that said Superhuman Radio on it, but I am being exposed as being a fraud because it's been a green screen all this time, and something's wrong with StreamYard, and they can't activate my green screen. So here we go. This is like C-SPAN. You get to see all the inner workings of everything behind the scenes. And I promise there'll be some curse words during the hot mic portions of the show. Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We have a fascinating show today that bears a lot of paying attention to. I would say the world of nootropics has been nothing but a complete letdown for me. Short of cocaine, all of these nootropics, they just don't do what they promise to do. And part of the problem is not enough research has been done. Some obscure study that showed something in rats and, that'll work in humans. But really, no real research has been done in practical applications of nootropics. Most of these companies that you see today, they have a big bottle of something, fancy name. They are akin to the multivitamin, which don't have enough of anything in them to really affect your health, but it mitigates your guilt, let's say. It mitigates your guilt, it's like having a Planet Fitness membership but never going. Well, I have a gym membership, and it mitigates guilt. But none of these products do anything. And I would venture to guess, and I stand to be corrected, that 80% of people try a particular nootropic one or two times and notice nothing, and they just stop ordering it. And all of the business is made on first initial orders, and then people just go away. And I've been playing with nootropics forever. I mean, phenylpiracetam back in the day, all this stuff that was supposed to make me feel like that movie with Bradley Cooper, Limitless, None of them have lived up to it, but one has. But it's not a single jar. It's not a multivitamin. It's not like, hey, everything you need is in these 2 capsules. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. And they play together. So some nootropics cancel each other out, and they're in the same capsule. Some nootropics play well with other nootropics, and we like to call that stacking. But it would take you a lot of time and money to figure out what truly stacks for you, because your brain is different than my brain. I guarantee it. If you saw the inside of my brain and what goes on in it, you'd fucking run. But this is something that takes decades to untangle. And I know one guy that has actually invested the decades, and he is the father of a product that has changed the nootropic landscape forever. It has raised the bar so far that all of these companies out there that are selling these multivitamin approaches to nootropics really don't stand a chance. The bar is raised so high that they'd have to come back and redesign everything, and they're not going to do that. So pay attention to today's show. We're going to talk about this because this is really good stuff. Even if you're not somebody who is in a position where executive function is so critical, you're running businesses and all this other stuff. If you're just an average person, thinking clearer, being able to recall things at the tip of your tongue, boom, and oh my God, I can't believe how you remember that. This is good stuff for everybody, not just a certain segment of the population cares about having good brain function. Everybody does. we have to thank our title sponsor, Legendary Foods. I sat in on a meeting yesterday with them, and I can't talk about it yet, but they have a new product coming out that is going to change healthy snacks forever. But right now we're talking about the tasty pastry. It is the Pop-Tart reimagined. 1 gram, less than 1 gram of sugar, 4 to 5 net carbs, 20 grams of protein. It tastes so good, your kids will like them. It tastes like you're eating real pastry, flaky and soft and delicious. You would never think that this is a healthy snack, because most healthy snacks, they have some component of it that we really don't like, but we eat it anyway because it keeps us in our dietary lane. But you're not sacrificing with the tasty pastry. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 to let them know that you learned about them here on Superhuman Radio and save 10% at the same time. Mark, how are you? Mr. Noots. Should I call you Mr. Noots, or you want me to call you Mark?
Oh, dude. No. Carl, you can call me anything you want, brother.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's like I've always, I grew up in Brooklyn where everybody had a nickname. Luckily, I did have a nickname, come to think of it, and I'll share that in a second. But everybody had nicknames growing up. There was Nicky Stitch Ass. There was, because he walked like he had the cheeks of his ass stitched together. There was Jimmy the Beak because he had a big nose, and I just realized I did have a nickname because it was kind of like Go Ask Alice. When you found drugs in your mother's medicine cabinet, you came to me and I told not to blood pressure medicine. Don't take that. So I did have that skill. So I guess Dr. Carl was with some of the people who used to call me growing up at 106 Street Park. But anyway.
No, you are the Joey Diaz of nootropics and health. So
thank you. I like him.
The Brooklyn thing comes out strong, brother.
So let's start from the beginning. People may not have heard your previous interview. You've been in this game of developing nootropics, and I'm sure you started because of your own desire to be more intelligent, have greater mental faculties. How many years ago now have you been developing these products?
So the first I've had two separate worlds of this. The first one was about 1995, and I had heard a radio talk show from a guy very similar to you, who was a biochemist out of University of Oregon, doing a talk show talking about huperzine A.
I remember. Yeah.
Right? Acetylcholinesterase inhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fascinated. So I literally pulled over to a phone booth, because that's what they did back then. Called him and said, "Where are you?" And he said, "Oregon City." I was in Portland at the time. So that led me to that half-hour drive. And as a result of that, I was able to have an incredible conversation with him. And I said, "Listen, dude, if you will teach me what you know about neurochemistry, I'll help you expand your business." So within 6 months, I had tripled his business. It wasn't very big to start, so it was easier to scale at that point. And then we put it online, and that was in 1996. We put it online, and which was pretty early,
right?
And it was funny, and we grew like hell. But that was my first experience. I sold it to him, and then I bought it back in 2008. My former wife had died of an oxycodone overdose. I was sick as hell and pissed. The world needed her, and it was, and I had 3 kids with her, so not having her there was an issue. And so I fortunately was able to move up to Blaine, Washington, right on the Canadian border, I-5.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, my business partner at the time, David McGinnis, still a great friend, Newsworthy.ai, big shout out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Founder of PR Web, really, really great guy.
Oh yeah, I use them. Yeah.
Right, you know those guys, yeah. And so David said, "Come up here and do the thing that you were called to do." And so I started readdressing the fact that people that were either addicted to drugs or had problems with painkillers or were running subperformance and neurologically subperformance, they needed something and they weren't finding it. And the experiments that they were doing with pharmaceuticals were causing problems. I also had a sister that was a heroin addict for over 30 years. So I had this experience of that. And I had already, I'd done my own experience when I was young. So I was no virgin to this world. And I understood a bit about depression as well, which I think is one of those things where you either go, this thing's going to overcome me and I'm going to be fucked, or I'm going to beat it and I'm going to find a way out of it. And then I'm going to use that as a platform to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and I think the same thing happens if you're an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever, and you finally find that there's a path that you can get out that's actually more fulfilling than the greatest high. And
right.
That's kind of what led me to this. This was the result. The stuff that you're taking right now was a result of over 3,000 prototype experiments over a 4-year period. While I was also winding down, I had the largest brainstorming software company in the world at the time, called Idea Fisher Thought Office. And so I'd worked with a bunch of neurobiologists who understand how the brain works and how thinking works, how creativity works, and how moods work, and what we call states, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by having those experiences, I was able to go, oh, this combination of neurochemical precursors or amino acids, or you mentioned phenylpiracetam, that was a favorite of mine in the early days, and right, pyroglutamic acid, again, huperzine A and some of the acetylcholinesterase inhibitors, and then some of the stims and CNS things like DMAA was a big one, like 2010 to 2013 or whatever, until it became illegal.
And it had a very short half-life. I mean, you would take it and it was actually like the crack of nootropics, because you had to keep taking it. You'd get that feeling and then it was like, oh, just wear off. You got to take more. So
It's crazy. But the cool thing, the kind of big epiphany you get. By the way, on the nickname thing. So my dad was a monk before I was born. So my dad was a Trappist monk, nice Catholic family from when he was 15 to 18 years old. So for 15 to 18, he didn't speak. All he did was sang Gregorian chants in Latin, and he woke up at 4 a.m. and ate a vegetarian meal and just prayed and meditated and did all those things. So, pretty cool. So I had this really cool dad as a reference point, and I was named after Marcus Aurelius. The great Stoic, right? Mm-hmm. So thankfully, I think a bit of that Stoic grounding has entered the fray. But so my dad called me Marcus Aurelius, but my friends called me Bird, after Big Bird. Mm-hmm. When I was 16, I worked at a machine shop making parts for nuclear reactors. And I had this thing where you went to school half the day and then you went and you made parts for nuclear reactors half the day and you got credit for that.
Wow.
And I would wear a yellow jumpsuit. I had yellow coveralls. And I would jump off the forklift after moving massive titanium bar ingot to grind. You had to grind titanium to get rid of the cracks. And I would move those things. And I would jump off the forklift and do a big Eddie Van Halen guitar solo, air guitar. So Big Bird was mine. I didn't quite get the Dr. Carl.
That's funny. That is funny. But it's okay. So what I said during the intro, did that resonate with you? This idea that all you need is, it's like the multivitamin, like, oh yeah, all you really need is this Centrum one a day, and it doesn't have enough of anything in it, and it just mitigates guilt. It makes you think you're taking something. Is that accurate for the current crop of nootropics out there?
Yeah, primarily. I mean, there's some good people in the industry that have paved the way, but the majority are they're playing on the safe side because if you do subclinical dosing, you're probably not going to ever affect somebody in a negative way. And that's kind of why our customization process came in, but we'll address that in a second. There was one of our biggest customers became a competitor a few years later. And what they did is they took bits and pieces from every one of our products, put them in one capsule, told you to take 7 of them for a dose. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of their approach to the industry.
I know who it is. As soon as you said, told you to take 7 of them for a dose, because they were a sponsor of my show a long time ago. They were on the show.
Yep. And not bad guys, just bad science. And so because we didn't slap stuff together. I mean, this started with me pairing molecules, taking pyroglutamic acid and taking choline bitartrate and then going, how does that make me feel? And then going, okay, so that makes me feel a little bit slow until it processes, the enzymes process the additional choline flow in the brain. And then I would suddenly feel more energetic and more my ability to process lateral thinking was higher. And lateral thinking for a creative is like everything, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to do
that's where original thought comes from.
Absolutely right. You get out of the box right there. So that was kind of the beginning. And then I kept pairing molecules. And the advantage of having a brainstorming software company at the time, and I was business partners with the founder of Century 21 Real Estate. So a guy named Marsh Fisher, really, really cool guy, who I met in the end of 1999. We just kind of hit it off. You know, when you meet somebody that's your soul brother? Yeah. He was the man. And he was super into creativity. And he would wake up every morning and call me. He didn't have his BlackBerry yet. This is just before he got a BlackBerry. He'd call me and he would tell me a joke that he started writing at 4 a.m. So at 7 a.m. I'd get the call. At 4 a.m. he would be up with our product called Idea Fisher, which was associated. He had Idea Fisher printed out. This is how averse to technology he was, right? Right. And so in creativity, jokes, humor, those are the core of those is associative thinking.
Yes.
Off a riff of national importance, and right?
Yeah.
And pulling it into the Gestalt and so I had that background. So I had 400,000, almost 400,000. I had 396,000 customers who had our software, and I had a subset of those, a little over 1,000 that I was close friends with. We would text or email on a regular basis, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to send you a blank test tube. I'll send you a blank test tube. It's going to taste like crap. Let me know how it makes you feel." And it would be 2 or 3 or 4 molecules combined together. And I got great feedback. I had a business partner of mine in past businesses build an online database and online forum. So a MySQL database on the back end and a forum on the front end. So people could tell us, who they were and their email address and their age and their weight and their sex and a bunch of other things. And then we started building on that. We started going, oh, wow. There seems to be a difference when we give this exact same component, this exact same formula with 250 milligrams of CDP choline and 100 milligrams of phenylparastam and then 60 milligrams of caffeine. They seem to operate completely differently if they were male or female, or if they were fit or fat, or if they were if they had to focus or if they needed creativity. And so we're taking notes. We've got this wonderful database. And so we can start kind of deconstructing their experience and going, oh shit, if we would optimize this formula, if we would change it so that somebody that's maybe very fit and 155 pounds, male, triathlete, eats really well, eats really clean, drinks a lot of water, their formula would be dramatically different than the woman who just gave birth to twins, who was dealing with a little bit of extra weight and maybe lethargy and fatigue and maybe even postpartum syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
She would need a very different formula to get the same kind of outcome that the athlete would get. And so learning those factors was huge. And it became kind of the basis for, we're not going to be able to throw a bunch of right. micro doses in a bottle, in a capsule, and say, good luck, folks.
Right. Because the non-responders will be self-selecting. They just won't buy the product ever again. And that's what I meant when I said what I said. There's very few nootropics that I have used. Excuse me. That I've felt the way I've felt this product. And you sent me some secret capsules too. Cardio something?
Yeah, cardio caps, man.
Those things are legit. I mean, wow! I didn't expect a lot from them, but they definitely enhanced my ability to expend energy when doing cardio. It was fascinating to me. And then we're going to talk about Collagenius too, because it's great stuff, and I drink it most mornings. So
awesome.
But the other thing is that makes this difficult to do right is teach it. So you got to do a little learning. We're famous. You got to do a little learning. people don't want to have to learn anything. Just tell me what to do. That's why the medical orthodoxy is so powerful at ruining people's lives. But when a product, and I would imagine, I'm going to say this, and I don't know it to be true, but I would say that at least 50% of the people who are confronted with Nootopia look at the book and go, "Oh, damn it! I gotta learn something now. I just want to take this shit and make me feel better. I don't want to have to learn." But the book guides you to how these things work, where the synergies are, so that you can pay attention to what's happening to you. Oh, well, it didn't do this to me, but then it recommended on page 26 that if it doesn't do this to you, then do that. It's like, because, we complain all the time about pharmaceutical companies, one size fits all approach to pharmaceuticals, which is horrible. That's why they have side effects. And we say, oh, individualized medicine is the future. But when it comes right down to it, people don't want to invest the time necessary to individualize their usage of these products. And this is where they end up going wrong. There is a little learning curve here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the deal. When we have a scale that we've created. This has been developed. This wasn't like a throw it together. But since 2008, when I started formulating what has become Nootopia, I started working with people that were everything from very sick to people that you would consider operating at superhuman. So we developed a scale of sick to superhuman, and it's sick, suboptimal, optimal, super optimal, and superhuman, right? And I like to use our friend Barry here. Watching. I've got a 3D of the Flash.
Yeah, got a Fresnel prism on it.
That's right. I didn't know you were an optics guy as well, Carl.
I studied optometry the first when I was a kid. That's why I was supposed to become an optometrist, but I moved to Las Vegas and cocaine and whores became my thing.
I love it. Oh, it's so great. You know what's great about that, man, is that you study to be an optometrist, and now you help people see.
Yeah, I like that.
Right?
I'll use that. Yeah. But yeah, so sick to superhuman became the scale that you were working on.
Yeah. And what we realized was that one is that, like, I'm inherently hypothyroid because I was a white rat for Accutane when I was in the military. So that it really fucks up your liver and it does all kinds of stuff. And the toxins live in your body. They're hard to get out. So I do regular oxygen therapy, EWAT, with a mitochondrial enhancement formula that I breathe to help keep the tumor, the tumor problem issue at bay. But so that would be sick, right? But on other aspects, when it comes to cognitive performance and maybe my sports performance, I'm actually running at a optimal to super optimal level. And when it comes to certain things like pattern recognition, I can, with the right day, the right amount of sleep the prior night, the right food that I'm eating, the right water I'm drinking, and the right nootropic formula, I can go into superhuman territory when it comes to pattern recognition.
Right.
So I can read a shitload of NCBI research. I can go onto examine.com and self-hacked, and suddenly the light goes on and I go, oh, that with that. I'll call our team in Bosnia and say, what do you think about this? And they'll do a molecular docking study, and they'll come back to me a week later and go, yep, this will work. This won't work. Here's something we never expected. They'll run it through an AI filter and come out with these things. And so so I get superhuman when it comes to pattern recognition, right? Well, what if I come into this flow? What if I come into this scale at suboptimal? Like I'm inherently suboptimal, meaning I'm slightly fatigued when I get up. Maybe I've got a level of depression that I'm not dealing with, right? Maybe I've had, maybe it's situational depression. Something bad happened and I don't know how to resolve it and I haven't addressed it, right? I haven't confronted it. So how do you deal with that? And that's when it gets into this really cool process of what if my customized formulation, like Nectar-X here,
right?
What if my customized formulation could get me over that hump from suboptimal to optimal? So I'm now operating at the area that my best good days are optimal. That's what we consider optimal. Well, now I can actually be functional instead of spinning my wheels and spending half my day kind of going, shit, man, I'm not going to get done anything that I thought I was going to get done. I'm not going to perform. I'm not going to perform for my loved ones. I'm not going to perform for my friends, nor for my business. And that sucks. So understanding the scale of Sick to Superhuman, and then understanding where you're coming into the scale with the attribute or the state that you need to be at super optimal or superhuman is really critical. Because once you know that, you can turn it on in an instant and go, cool. Right. Like just before this call, I took an upbeat, a brain flow, and then I do a little Xamarin Juice because I know that my GABA and serotonin are going to be up. I'm going to have a bit of dopamine, so I'm going to get a reward when I come up with the right phrase or right theory and the flow, right? And then you and I are going to riff, and we're going to get in flow state. And my Joey Diaz of biohacking is going to be rocking it. And that's right. That's a state change that I can take with me anytime I want.
And use whenever you want. You could turn it on. And that's why I said light switch today, to turning on the light switch to your brain, because it's like flipping a switch. It really, really is. Let me put this up here real quick. The product is called Nootopia. The website to go to is shrnetwork.biz/Nootopia, Nootopia. Use the code SHR10 for 10% off. There is a website, nootopia.com, but if you use this link, then we can see how interested the audience is, and I appreciate that. 9 game-changing formulas, 4 breakthrough brain stacks, infinite customization. That is the key. This is a chemistry set for your brain. And you have to invest a little bit of time, a little experimentation. That's the fact, because it's not a pixie dust product with 7 capsules to take with very small doses of everything. And some people will feel something, but the majority won't. This is the real thing. This is decades of research and experimentation with human beings and not rodents. And it's an amazing, I've never seen anything that spray that Mark had in his hand. I love that stuff. In fact, I ran out of it, and it's in a glass bottle, which is like, why? Because it's so important to keep these things from degrading from light and so on, that it's in a glass bottle. That's unheard of. Everybody uses plastic spray bottles today. Everybody.
Yeah. No. And also leaching, right? Anything leach. We still don't know all of the detrimental chemicals that are available.
The plasticizers. Yeah, they're anti-androgens. They're estrogenic. They do all sorts of nasty stuff. And they're not going to get it out of plastic anytime soon because nobody cares. We're going to take one quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk about a breakfast drink that I love. If you like cocoa, hot cocoa in the morning, oh, that sounds so good. You have to sit tight and listen to us talk about Collagenius. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Mr. Noots and Superhuman Radio. There have been no new innovations in men's underwear for hundreds of years. That's all about to change with Sheath. Sheath creates 2 separate compartments for your man stuff so it doesn't get smashed into a mound and sweaty and stinky. I won't wear any other underwear now that I've learned about Sheath, and you won't either. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Sheath underwear. That's SHEATHUNDERWEAR. Use code SUPERHUMAN to save 20% off. I promise you, once you try a pair of Sheath underwear, you will never wear anything else. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality pasture pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/white oak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 10% off your entire first order. P3OM from Bioptimizers is a patented prebiotic and probiotic supplement with Lactobacillus plantarum OM. It has now been upgraded to P3OM 2.0 with the addition of a superfood formulation that makes it 2 times stronger, as well as optimizes L. plantarum's strength. So it's more powerful than ever, which means that not only will it help you completely digest all animal proteins, it also reduces cortisol, causes deep relaxation and better sleep, and reduces stress. Go to shrnetwork.biz/P3-OM today and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off. Never before has a product been so appropriately named as Botanic Tonics Feel Free. This plant-based elixir combines a variety of different effective compounds, all from raw plant materials that at different doses provide you with completely different experiences. A third of a bottle puts you in the zone and makes you very focused and is ideal for a non-stimulating pre-workout. It also has a mild analgesic effect for us older lifters who have soreness and little pains and aches that keep us from training as ferociously as we want. A half a bottle will create a mild euphoric effect that will allow you to forego consuming alcohol but still be socially lubricated and have fun. I have never had a product deliver on its name the way Botanic Tonics Feel Free does, and I won't ever be without it, and you shouldn't either. Go to shrnetwork.biz/feelfree and use the code SHR40 for 40% off your first order. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Are you suffering from signs of an unhappy gut? Diversity is the key to healthy, robust inner ecosystem. Body Ecology probiotic liquids are made by fermenting organic seeds, biodynamic brown rice, and chickpeas together to create a diverse culture found nowhere else on Earth. It's the secret to restoring your gut's microbiome for a healthier digestive tract, improved immune function, and longevity. Take 20% off by visiting the website shrnetwork.biz/bodyeco. shrnetwork.biz/bodyeco. That's BODYECO. And using the code SHR20.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Would help if I open my mic, right? Welcome back. So I ran an old spot of White Oak Pastures, and I feel bad because I just cut a new spot for them. First of all, you get a 15% discount when you use the code Superhuman. It was an SHR, I forget. Let me see. Let me I don't want to shit on myself here. Hold on a second. When you use the code Superhuman, you save 15% off. The spot says 10%. It was an old spot. And also, everybody's worried about availability of food right now. I don't worry about it because I get it delivered right to my door once every couple of weeks. Fill up the freezer, and I'm good to go. And now White Oak Pastures even has seafood, sushi-grade salmon, sushi-grade ahi tuna. It's all one place. You order it, and a few days later, it shows up on your doorstep. So stop worrying about the food supply and start using White Oak Pastures to feed your family. That's it. I wanted to say that. So Collagenius, I don't have a picture of it. I'm sad. Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. Talk about Collagenius. What was the impetus behind this product?
A couple things. One, my business partner, Matt Gallant, CEO and co-founder of Bioptimizers, he had told me that lion's mane mushrooms had made a major impact on helping him recover after drug and alcohol addiction. So I thought, well, that's a great place to start, right?
Yeah.
And then
apparently, I'm thinking all of us have started there. I guess that was a prerequisite. That's a prerequisite, I guess.
I was on Luke Story's podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we were also talking about Collagenius and mushrooms, and that led way down a rabbit hole of all kinds of mushrooms.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do a lot of mushrooms in Brooklyn. I did it In fact, I did shrooms the night that I saw Star Wars for the first time. It was in August. I can't think of the year, but I was up in Saratoga, New York, because I worked with the racetrack, and every August we went to Saratoga. And a buddy of mine gave me brown powder, and he said it was shrooms, and I was tripping when I watched that movie the first time. And the people in front of me were so annoyed because I must have been loud and boisterous, like every time. Oh my God, look at those monsters! So yeah, but LSD was and mescaline and peyote, I had plenty of growing up. But yeah, I know. I guess we're part of that experimental group that didn't believe. And I'm still waiting for the flashbacks. Just for the record, I could use it. Come on, I could use it because I still microdose now. I regularly, and my microdoses are pretty big actually.
Yeah, the macro. We were talking about that because I was 16 at the time, and I ended up playing district tennis and winning district tennis on a macrodose, and because it totally changed my state. I mean, that's why I think that nootropic state stuff is so important now. So Collagenius, which I consider kind of an OS for your brain, right? An operating system for your brain. So Matt was talking to me about that, and I said, all right, let's try this. And I started working with extractions and going from 1-to-1 to 10-to-1 to 20-to-1 and I got to 50-to-1, and it was amazing. And I was capsulating it, and my lab assistant / best friend in the world, she's not here today, but Cassidy, right? Yeah. Yep. She's pouring it, and she would take all the MSDS sheets, the safety data sheets, and and all the COA and the lab analysis, and put them all in folders, put it very organized.
Right.
She's putting it away, but she's also a 5-star chef. So she's pouring this stuff that I'm getting, these extracts that we're either getting or making, into containers, and going, that's got some nice cocoa notes to it. And then doing other ones, doing red reishi, right? And doing chaga and going, oh, those kind of have cocoa chocolate notes to them. And so she started pouring these things together, and then we brought it to Dave Asprey's biohacking conference in Florida as kind of a gift to everybody last year. And Matt looked at it and said, and you could feel the BDNF, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, happening, and the neurogenesis is starting to cook your brain in a positive way. You're starting to get it really nice up to speed. And he and I are up on stage speaking, talking about nootropics and about the key components of a nootropic performance stack and those things. And he looked at me and said, dude, I think we need to turn that into something for everybody. So he jumped in, added some incredible additions to it. We worked with a company out of Southern California called Compound Solutions, and they started providing these little extra molecules for antioxidant and adaptogen qualities. And as a result of that, we were able to put together a product that really, really is the OS for your brain. I take it in my coffee in the morning, or I take it in the afternoon over ice. I grind it up with ice and make an incredible smoothie with it. And I got to try that.
I drink it in more. So I have really given up coffee, and it was hard. It was very, very difficult. But I'll say this: part of the success with giving up coffee is having that in the morning. What is that? A new nootropic?
I'm telling Dave. So that's Danger Dave Asprey's new Danger Coffee.
Oh, and so I drink it in the morning hot with. Sometimes I'll drink it with almond milk because Elisa keeps that in the house. Nice. But what's striking is the completely different flavor it has, because you source two different origins of cocoa and how they play together. It literally finishes like coffee. When you swallow it, you feel like you just drank coffee.
Right, but it doesn't have a caffeine rush.
No.
Caffeine stem. It's got so much good fat, not just MCT8, right? But also the cocoa butters, and it's incredible. And as a result of that, you get this very long burn. You feel it in your brain. Your performance rises in your brain. And then the BDNF is activating so many cofactors, and along with the B vitamins and the micronutrients that are in there. There's copper and there's selenium and zinc, and so you're getting the conversion of critical components that help neurological performance is very high. You don't feel like you're on a rush. You don't feel like you're wired. You feel like you're performing at an enhanced level. And to me, that's magic, right?
Yeah, yeah. So could I drink it late at night, or is there a chance it would stimulate the brain to the point where it would keep me up?
I wouldn't take it in place of a mint tea in the right. But I've had it at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and still gone to bed at hit the bed at 10 o'clock, went to sleep at 11:30, and been very fine. And what I really love about it too is that anybody that's done deep dive into these mushrooms, as you get the extractions further and further from 1 to 1, the amount of lucid dreaming quality is enhanced. So
I like that idea. Yeah.
Well, you're Carl. I'm sure you're like me in the fact that you solve as many problems in your dreams as you do in your day to day.
So my audience knows about Gun Leash, the product that I'm going to market with in November. But that happened in my sleep after an event the night before. And I woke up in the morning and thought, I have to see if somebody's done this already. And when I saw they didn't, I sketched it out and sent it to my attorney and filed a patent for it. And it's 2 years later, we're going to market. So.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff gets solved in your sleep. I mean, it's just amazing when you remember your dreams. When you don't remember your dreams, you don't solve anything. So,
well, it's funny because I was just reading some stuff on deja vu recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have vuja day a lot, a feeling I've never been there before.
Oh, really? That's a different one. Okay.
No, but deja vu, one of the things that it's been kind of prognosticated is that what's happened is you've dreamed an event and then you've lived it in real life and you didn't really experience. And the other is that because there are little tiny micro factions of that event that you're re-experiencing, it makes you feel like you're having the whole event over again, right? Even though maybe you've just met that same person on the street, or the sun happened to be at that same angle as you were going somewhere, right? As you're traveling, you pass the same sign every day and you never notice it, but it's subliminally locking in your memory, right? Those kinds of things.
You know what fascinates me? Not to kind of sidetrack the discussion.
Not dare us.
Yawning.
Yeah.
So I like the other day I was talking to a friend of mine and I yawned. He was in upstate New York. I'm in Louisville. I yawned. I didn't yawn loud and he fucking yawned. And I'm like, what is this? Like, if somebody needs to figure this out, because there's a way to influence marketing. If we could, like, if I yawn and you yawn, then I should be able to influence something else you do. And I just wish we could unlock why. And I know that the initial yawn is attributed to some amount of carbon dioxide elevation in the blood. But
correct.
If I have carbon dioxide elevation in my blood and you're upstate New York, you don't. Like, what?
It is funny. It is funny because the moment you said yawn, my yawn desire just went through the roof.
Yeah,
right? Isn't it funny?
There is some, like, the original viral thing in the world, and it's probably been going on for millions of years, is the yawn. All I have to do is yawn and you'll yawn. Or it's that 5
Oh yeah, I'm in, man. I'm totally in.
That's so fascinating.
Funny.
But anyway, there's something. Oh, good.
Check this out. So
how old is that?
That's 1879.
Wow.
Yeah, 1879. So those were found in the basement of a home not far from where I live, and the woman, an ex-cop, an ex-San Francisco beat cop, said, you're the guy that does those weird things down by the river. yeah.
Wow.
The guy goes, yeah, you should have those.
That's nice. That was nice of her. I want to talk about one other product, but it doesn't seem to be ready for market yet. But can I give people a peek behind the curtain for a little bit?
Well, let's try it, man. Let's try it.
Okay, let me take my last commercial break so we can take our time and roll through this. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
Awesome.
Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. GHKCU is one of the most effective peptides for rebuilding more youthful skin, reversing skin damage, diminishing wrinkles, and tightening loose skin. I personally use Restoracell with GHKCU every day. It's making an undeniable difference in the quality of my skin. Restoracell is fantastic for all types of skin. Now you can order Restoracell and save 25% when you use the code SHR25. That's SHR25. While you may be diligent in your workouts and your diet, don't neglect what people see first and foremost, and that's your skin. Go to shrnetwork.biz/blue and use code SHR25 today.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/mypillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low-carb.
This is the Superhuman Channel. Evolution just got kicked up a notch.
Okay.
I'm going to learn that guitar solo, Carl.
Yeah. I hear it in my sleep sometimes. Yeah, I swear. This music, the bumper music. So you also sent me a jug of something called magic milk.
I did.
I ate the entire jug.
With a spoon.
Yes, I'm being serious here. First of all, I always thought Sabinsa's C3 was the shit when it came to turmeric and curcumoids.
Yep.
That thing is standardized for something insane like 90-something% curcumoids?
Yeah, 96%.
How do you even find something standardized to that richness of curcumoids?
Well, it's funny. We were, you got the cardio cap, which I'm hoping we'll announce sometime soon. And so we've been working with hyper concentrated curcumin for quite some time and using different potentiators, not just piperine, which is a classic, right?
Right.
But different.
I had an Indian guy tell me if there's no fat in it, you won't absorb it.
Right.
And you have fat in that product. Lots of fat.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to find it as a version of Collagenius coming out later this year. And I think you obviously will be on the early delivery. I better get you some. And what had happened was actually Chastity had seen that you had hurt yourself on Instagram.
Yeah.
She looked over at me and said, we got to make sure and take care of Carl. So big shout out to Chastity on that one.
She interacts on my social media, and I didn't know that she was in your lab there. And I I'll let you know that you're just another fan. Yeah, that is so thoughtful. That was really very, very thoughtful.
That's her, man.
But folks, Magic Milk is going to be amazing. I'm not shitting you. I'm not just saying this. I made a cup of it with hot water one morning, and it was good. And then I remember licking the spoon, and it was buttery, and it had this really wonderful finish, and it had a little spiciness to it. And I stuck the spoon in it, and I had like 3 spoonfuls that morning. And Elisa thinks I was crazy. She wanted some. And, I don't know. You know in Italian what a gavone is?
No. You got to tell me, man.
Like an animal, a hog. Like he eats everything in front of him. Keep your hands away from his mouth. He's eating. And I, like in 4 days, it was gone. I would shovel a couple spoonfuls into my mouth. And I know that was probably a waste. But
I don't know.
Tasted insanely delicious.
How was your inflammation after that?
I don't really have a lot of inflammation. I got to be honest with you.
You did hurt yourself though. What?
I forget what that was that I heard. That's when I dropped my motorcycle on myself.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
I stopped at the gas station to fill up. I thought I kicked the kickstand down, but I didn't. It came back up, and I just leaned the bike to the left and let it go, and it threw me to the floor like The Rock in a wrestling match. I mean, it threw me down. My whole hip was that's really not my hip. Your hip is in your crotch, but the outside of my glutes, black and blue and pain. Oh my God. It was, my whole leg was hurting me. Yes. And I did. And that's when I took it. I was taking it and I recovered from that pretty quickly. I never put 2 and 2 together. It may have been that I took massive doses.
A week ago, we're doing construction on the main street down here. So we were at a nice pub having dinner with one of our employees, and I was walking backwards across the train tracks, which is the smartest thing you want to do, right? Downhill, right?
Yeah.
And a traffic cone that was anchored to the ground nailed me. I tumbled and I struck my elbow, the kind that just hurts like hell. I chipped it, chipped it. And I was in such extreme pain at 1 a.m. So at 1 a.m. I did a cardio cap and I did Magic Milk. And because my pain was at an 8, where you're about to scream.
Yeah, but you're not there yet. Yeah, right. You can't sleep. Yeah, can't sleep.
40 minutes later, the pain was completely gone. I made up another capsule, one of our nootropics. I did another version of it, and I haven't had pain since. So, and the repair was almost instantaneous. So, there's something to these.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I recovered from that accident really fast. I mean, I was back to normal in a couple days. So that might have been it. I didn't even think of it. I didn't know that it was sent with that in mind.
I'm going to make an emergency pack of that you're going to be able to put in your saddlebags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
What are you riding? What are you riding today, by the way?
I ride a Harley. I have a picture of it here. Let's see.
Take a look here. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's a big saddlebag. You can probably get a pretty good bucket of that stuff in there.
Yeah, and it's not a stock engine. It's a lot of people. I mean, I run into people all the time who say, "Oh, I saw you the other day. Doing 90 on 42." Yeah, that's me. So, I've been riding since I was a young man, so I love motorcycles. I feel so free when I'm on my bike. Yeah. One last question.
Yeah, man. Hit me.
What's the half-life of Huperzine A?
That's a really good one. So it'll run a full day, but you'll actually get some rebound characteristics the following day if you take it well. It does pass the blood-brain barrier really effectively. Mm-hmm. You don't need very much. I would pair it with a little tiny bit of choline, a choline donor like CDP choline or alpha
egg, or a couple of whole eggs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. One thing I love about that is the fat and cholesterol.
Right.
The uptake is very smooth with that. You're not going to get any kind of overcholination where you start getting either a headache or you start getting too aggressive, right? You're not going to do that. Yeah, easy to work with.
Huperzine A is very powerful. It's very strong. You need microdoses of it, right? I mean, micrograms of it. But to give people an idea of how acetylcholine esterase, how powerful it is. Sarin gas. Remember sarin gas?
Absolutely.
Sarin gas is an acetylcholine esterase inhibitor, and it gets into your brain, and it makes the acetylcholine go crazy, which makes your heart rate speed up and your heart explodes and every muscle, you become rigid and boom, you just dry. So acetylcholine esterase is a very powerful enhancer of nervous system function. And you just need a tiny, tiny bit. But I never knew that. I didn't know that it lasted that long. I thought it was out of your system pretty quickly. I mean,
the thing is, you can reping it, right? So as it's coming out of your system, you can reping it. These are what really good choline donors and oils are effective at. And you can also do it through a bit of movement. So a little bit of movement will actually keep it working as well. So
really? Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Let me plug the product one more time. So the product is called Nootopia. And let me get it here. And if you are really searching, if you've been let down by nootropics in the past, or you've never tried any and you haven't been spoiled into thinking that they just don't work, give Nootopia a try. But be prepared to learn about your brain. And what's more exciting than learning about your brain? Go to shrnetwork.biz/Nootopia, Nootopia. Use the code SHR10 for 10% off. This is a game changer in the nootropic industry. I really, it took a lot of courage to produce this product and put it on the market. And I'll tell you why. It's easier to tell people what they want to hear. Oh, yeah, all you got to do is take 7 capsules and you'll feel it. It's a lot harder to tell people, look, you're going to have to learn a little bit about how these things interact with your brain. You're going to have to learn a little bit about how your brain works. And you're going to have to experiment a little bit. But at the end of this, you will have something that you will be able to use on demand. Flip a switch and feel the way you want to feel. There you go. Brain flow. Yeah, I know. There's so many great. When you open it up, it's like, holy crap! All this product. Oh my God! Look at all the product I got. Yeah, and they all do something different. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Thanks so much for being here today. Oh yeah, it comes in that nice black box too.
It doesn't pretty. Yeah.
I keep all my sex toys in it now.
All of them? Oh, they all fit?
Dozens. Yeah, they all fit. Yeah, they're all anatomically correct. They're real small.
Shit.
Have a great weekend, brother.
Thank you so much, Carl. You're awesome, brother.
Take care. Soon. And see everybody next week. Remember, muscle is metabolic currency. So get into the gym and make a deposit today. It will pay you back. Nothing else has been shown to increase the lifespan of humans but the creation of muscle and strength. Don't let anybody bullshit you. Get into the gym. Live long. Okay, see you next week.